Hello class. I've received a few questions about a problem like this. This is from week 2 homework, maybe around number 32, but maybe a little different for everyone else. So just look around. And it deals with factoring, and it's asking you to factor the polynomial. I picked number 67 in section 6.5. It's very similar. And what this is you need to identify that we have the sum of cubes going on. So when you look at the original problem, we have r plus 2t cubed and r minus 3t cubed. So you see how it's in that form where we have a value cubed plus another value cubed. So there's a formula to break that apart as long as we can figure out what x and y are. So when we look at this, um, this whole first term is considered my x cubed, and then the second binomial is my y cubed. Okay, so that's going to be my y value, that's going to be my x value, and then I'm just going to plug them in where x and y are in my formula. So let's write out our formula. So we have x plus y times x squared minus xy plus y squared. Okay, so I identify that the x value is r plus 2t. It's what's inside. So everywhere I have an x in my formula, I'm going to drop in r plus 2t. So let's go ahead and start working through a little bit. So we have parentheses, my x value, which is r plus 2t. Notice I'm using parentheses when I plug a binomial in like that, plus my y value. Now my y value is going to be what's in the other set of parentheses. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to drop that in for y everywhere. So we have plus r minus 3t. And again, notice I'm using parentheses. Okay, so all I've done so far is the x plus y. That's what this portion is. Now we need to work on the second portion. So we have x squared. Okay, well x was 2 plus, or sorry, r plus 2t. So we have r plus 2t, and it's squared. So I need to have a square up here. Minus my x value, which again is r plus 2t times my y value, which we said our y value was r minus 3t, plus my y value squared. So my y value is r minus 3t. So r minus 3t. So we've plugged everything in. Now it's just part of just multiplying correctly and simplifying our way through. So let's just take our time and write out the steps. The biggest mistake is going to be made in these squares because we're going to just forget what that means. So we'll address that in just a second. Okay, so in the first one, there's a 1 in front of my first parenthesis, so that's not going to really do anything. So I'm going to left with r plus 2t plus, I'm going to take a 1 and distribute it in. So that's going to give me plus r minus 3t. And again, the plus 1's not going to really make a difference. What's going to happen and make a difference is when we have subtractions like this. We really need to be careful. Okay. So now our second parenthesis is going to be a lot more work in this one. So what you need to remember is r plus 2t squared is really r plus 2t times r plus 2t. So we're going to have to break that apart into two of them and then FOIL. On our second one stays the same. We have r plus 2t times r minus 3t. Plus, again on this one, the r minus 3t squared, that means there's two of them. So r minus 3t times r minus 3t. Almost didn't leave enough room. Okay. So again, be careful and make sure that you remember to break it apart into the two binomials and don't just distribute the square in to get r squared plus 4t squared. Okay. So in the first one, I have some like terms. I have 1r plus 1r, so I can combine those. That gives me 2r. And then I have 2t minus 3t. 2 minus 3 gives me negative 1t. Parentheses. I'll do each of these in a different color so we can keep track of them. So the first one's done, the first parentheses. Now we just need to work out the second one. So r times r gives me r squared. R times 2t. This is going to give me a plus 2rt. Remember, alphabetic order is how I'm going to write them, just so I can keep everything organized and I can identify like terms. Same thing we go here. 2t times r is plus 2rt. And then 2t times 2t gives me plus 4t squared. We still have the minus, and I'm going to have to distribute that to whatever answer I get for this middle section here. So r times r gives me r squared. R times negative 3t gives me negative 3rt. 2t times r gives me plus 2rt. 2t times negative 3t gives me negative 6t squared. And I'm going to close the parentheses. Okay, so make sure you notice that subtraction sign there. Plus, now we have everything that's left over for this third one when we FOIL. R times r is r squared. R times negative 3t is negative 3rt. Same thing happens here. Negative 3t times r, negative 3rt. And negative 3t times negative 3t is a positive 9t squared. Okay, so let's make sure we identify that's a t, and we have a t there. Okay. Now we need to close our parentheses and close another one. Okay. Alright. So the 2r minus t stays the same. There was nothing to distribute into this, so I can go ahead and just combine some like terms. If you notice, these middle terms are like terms. So I have r squared plus 4r, erase that, plus 4rt plus 4t squared. I need to distribute here. We could combine like terms before we distribute. Either way. So negative r squared, so negative 1 times r squared. Negative 1 times a negative 3rt is a plus 3rt. Negative times a positive 2rt is a negative 2rt. Negative times a negative is a positive 6t squared. Then we distribute the positive 1 in, and we have plus r squared minus 3RT. It's not going to change any of the signs. Minus 3RT and plus 9T squared. Okay, we're ready to combine like terms. So we want to make sure that we're keeping track of all of them. Again, up front, we're going to keep the 2r minus t. That one's been done for a while. And let's go ahead and look at the second one. So we have an r squared the r squared minus r squared plus r squared. So these are the three like terms. So 1r squared minus r squared plus r squared is just going to leave me with an r squared. We have a plus 4rt, a plus 3rt, so that gives us the 7rt. Minus 2 puts me back at 5. Minus 3 puts me back to 2. Minus 3 puts me back at negative 1rt, or just negative rt. And then we have plus 4t squared plus 6t squared, so that's 10. And plus 9t squared gives me a 19t squared. And we close our parentheses. Okay, so this is how you're going to break apart or factor when you have cubes, the sum of cubes. This one happens to be a little more challenging because the x value is a binomial. So we're actually plugging in a binomial for x and plugging in a binomial for y. So it does become a little more challenging. There's a lot of process in between. Be careful with your signs. Take the time to break it apart, FOIL it out. Remember your negative signs to distribute in. The plus isn't going to make a difference with the parentheses, but that negative sure does. And then combine all your like terms. Alright, I hope that was helpful for you.